Hi friends, I welcome everyone to our channel Agriculture Pedagogy. And today we are about to continue the World Nature Conservation Day Part 2. If you have missed to watch the previous session, I have attached the link below. Kindly watch it and come back. In this video, we are going to see some valuable points on initiatives taken by Government of India to conserve the nature. Totally, Indian government has taken 5 schemes to conserve the nature. The first one is Nagarvan Yojana, the second one is Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, the third one is Project Tiger, and the fourth one is Mangrove Forest for Future, and finally National Wetland Conservation Program. Now let us see some important facts about each schemes in this video. The first scheme is Nagarvan Yojana. We all know that India is the only country where we people worship trees, animals, birds and reptiles. And this is the respect we Indians give for the environment. And coming to the topic, focusing on this year theme, biodiversity, as declared by UN Environmental Programme, our Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change launched Nagarvan Yojana on World Environment Day, June 5th. The word Nagar means city, Van means forest, and it's obviously a scheme creating forest environment in urban cities. The scope of the urban forest project is this scheme will surely help us to maintain ecological balance, serving both environment and social needs. And the target of Nagarvan aims to develop 200 urban forests across the country in next 5 years. And Union Ministry considered Varje Urban Forest in Pune as a role model for Nagarvan scheme. Okay, what is that Varje Urban Forest? During 2016, the Maharashtra Forest Department, an NGO called TERE, Tata Motors and Persistent Foundation joined hands together to turn the barren into green forest. The team began with planting of 8 feet height saplings of different indigenous tree species like banyan tree, peepal tree, golden bamboos, neem tree, then badam, amla, etc. The most interesting factor is the team encouraged the people to be part of this experiment by allowing them to adopt trees in memory of their loved ones. The result of the experiment was the Varje urban forest became rich in biodiversity with 23 species of plants, 29 species of birds, 15 species of butterflies, 10 reptile species and 3 mammal species. And moreover, the Varje project has 5 water ponds within that and 2 watchtowers. Now, the urban forest project is not only helping to maintain the ecological balance but also provides a good walk space for people of Pune. And this is why the Varje forest has been a role model for Nagarvan scheme. We can proudly say that we people of India and Indian government were always finding a way to conserve our forest area. The best example is Cities for Forest campaign conducted in 2011 and the Draft National Policy 2018. And coming to the topic, the finance for this scheme will be paid by Compensatory Afforestation Fund Management and Planning Authority, CAMPA, which coming under the Act Compensatory Afforestation Fund Act 2016. And I would like to say that at the time of launching the Nagarvan scheme, our Honorable Minister Shri Prakash Javadekar said that we had a very important tradition of village forest since ages. Now, the scheme of urban forest will fill up the gap because urban areas have gardens, but very rarely forest. With this activity of creating urban forest, we will also create additional carbon sink too in our cities. And now we are going to see the scheme 2, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Swachh Bharat Abhiyan is a mass movement of cleanliness launched by our Honorable Prime Minister on Gandhi Jayanti, October 2nd, 2014. The scheme was initiated to fulfill the aim of our father of our nation, respectable Mahatma Gandhi's aim of Clean India. The main aim of the scheme was to amend and improve the waste management rules of our country in view to reduce the amount of waste produced. The Swachh Bharat mission has 2 thrusts in it. The Swachh Bharat Abhiyan rural and urban, where the rural areas were operated under the Ministry of Drinking Water and Sanitation, and the urban areas were operated under the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. And the rules which were made under SBM were restored into objectives of Swachh Bharat in 2016. Those objectives are, the main objective in that are eliminating open defecation through the construction of household owned and community owned toilets. The second one is establishing an accountable mechanism of monitoring toilet use, and other objectives like effectively recovering the resource for utilization through recycling and generate income and employment in the process. And the vital features of SBM rules includes mandatory segregation of waste, a spot fine introduced for littering, and employments created by introducing the integration of waste pickers and waste dealers by state governments. And we should be proud that our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi received the Global Goalkeeper Award by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for Swachh Bharat Abhiyan during 2019. And finally, when you see the success of Swachh Bharat mission, PIB say that through SBM, 99.2% of rural India has been covered in last 4 years. Since October 2014, our 9.5 crore toilets have been built all over the country, and 5,64,658 villages have been declared open defecation free villages. And this is the success of SBM project. And coming to the most important project, the Project Tiger. We all know that tiger is our national animal. The Project Tiger is a tiger conservation program initiated in April 1973 during the tenure of our ex-PM, respectable Indira Gandhi. Initially, the Project Tiger was launched in Jim Corbett National Park. The Project Tiger is administered by National Tiger Conservation Authority (NTCA) under Wildlife Protection Act 1972. The Project Tiger has set up a tiger protection force to overcome the poachers and villagers to minimize the human-tiger conflicts. Coming to the objectives of Project Tiger, the objectives include the protection of vulnerable Bengal tiger population, habitat restoration of tiger, day-to-day monitoring of health and population of the tiger, ecological development for local people in buffer zones around the forest area, voluntary reallocation or movement of people from main tiger habitats. And we should know that the Project Tiger has been appreciated worldwide as the number of tigers in India went up in recent years. The tiger count is recorded after the survey conducted in all the 30 tiger reserve corridors every 4 years by National Tiger Conservation Authority. According to the Census 2019, most of the states witnessed an increased trend in tiger population. The highest population was recorded in Madhya Pradesh with 256 tigers and 526 tigers, and followed by Uttarakhand and Karnataka. Whereas Chhattisgarh and Mizoram recorded a decreased trend in tiger population. And we can say that the Project Tiger is probably one of the most effective environment project by the government of India, where our tiger population raised from 2,226 in 2014 to 2,967 in 2019. On July 29, 2020, during International Tiger Day celebration, our Union Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar said that India has 70% of global tiger population now. International Tiger Day. Okay, let me add some points to International Tiger Day. International Tiger Day was declared in the year 2010 during Tiger Summit held at St. Petersburg. The main goal of the day is to double the tiger population by 2022. The main feature of International Tiger Day is to prohibit illegal wild trading of tigers, including tiger skins, jewelries made using tiger claws and teeth, tiger whiskers, tiger bone wine, tiger meat, and any medicine that contain tiger derivatives. Now let us see mangrove for future project. The importance of mangrove forest were greatly known to the world only after the tsunami disaster 2004. First, let us know what mangrove forests are. Mangroves are plants that survive in high salinity, tidal regimes, strong wind velocity, high temperature, and muddy anaerobic soil. Mangrove vegetation has been reported in all the coastal states and union territories. India is home to some of the best mangroves in the world. The current assessment shows that the mangrove cover in the country is 4,662.56 square kilometer, where the West Bengal has the maximum of mangrove cover in the country, followed by Gujarat and Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Mangrove ecosystems are rich in biodiversity and contain several number of floral and faunal species. Even the endangered species like Gangetic dolphin, estuarine crocodile, etc. The mangroves acts as nurseries for fin fish, shellfish, crustaceans and molluscs also. Mangrove forests are regarded as the most productive ecosystem in the world based on their large quantities of organic and inorganic nutrition released in the coastal waters by the ecosystem. Since the mangrove forests are present only in the coastal regions, the mangrove ecosystem constitutes a symbiotic link or bridge between the terrestrial and marine ecosystems. Considering the above important facts, the government seeks to sustain mangroves in the country by both regulatory and promotional measures. The Worldwide Mangrove Management Initiative focused on the countries that were worst affected by tsunami, like India, Indonesia, Maldives, Seychelles, Sri Lanka, and Thailand. And recently, Bangladesh, Cambodia, Myanmar, Pakistan, and Vietnam were added to. Our Indian government has identified 42 mangrove areas and 4 coral reefs for intensive conservation and management. Mainly in Tamil Nadu, 4 areas were identified like Pichavaram, Muthupet, Ramnad, Pulicat, and Kaluveli. The project Mangrove for Future increased the mangrove forest area by more than 100 square kilometers in last few years. This is the success of Mangrove project. And now we will see the scheme National Wetland Conservation Program. What are wetlands? The wetlands are that covered with water either permanently or temporarily. The marshlands, fen, and even the peatlands come under the wetland category. The wetlands normally play major role in hydrological cycle and flood control, water supply and providing food, fiber and even raw materials to the livelihood. The wetlands are not only water reservoirs, they also prevent land degradation and desertification too. Since the microclimate in wetland areas are comparatively low, they also makes a temporary niche or habitat for lack of migratory birds from temperate or cooler region of the world in summer seasons. And the Union government is about to upgrade the existing Wetland Research and Training Center of Chilka Development Authority at Barkul, which is at Odisha, as National Capacity Development Center for Wetlands. When you see the wetlands present in India, based on the satellite images, in 2011, ISRO made a National Wetland Atlas which mapped over 2 lakh wetlands covering around 4.63% of total geographic area of India. Some of the prominent Indian wetlands are Bular Lake present in Jammu and Kashmir, Chilka Lake present in Odisha, Raingaw Lake present in Himachal Pradesh, Sambar Lake present in Rajasthan, Deepar Beel present in Assam, and etc. Till the date, above 115 wetlands were identified around the country that needs conservation and management. The main aim of the project National Wetland Conservation Program is to conserve and promote awareness about the wide use of wetlands in our country in order to prevent further degradation of wetlands in India. Okay friends, that's all about the schemes which were initiated by Indian government to conserve the nature. And I would like to conclude with few words. And we all know that India is gifted with a rich ecological biodiversity, having several species of animals and plants. Moreover, our country has 35 global biodiversity hotspots containing several endemic species in it. But with increasing population, deforestation, urbanization, and industrialization, we have made our natural resource under tremendous pressure of extinction that may cause huge loss of biodiversity in future. We should not forget that biodiversity is important for the survival of all living beings in this earth. And I would like to conclude this session with my last word that the healthy biodiversity alone can run the world ecological process, and because of increasing population and urbanization, a need has come to conserve our nature in urban areas, which is only the best way to bridge this gap. Hope we made this session more informative. And finally, if you like the video, kindly like and share among your friends. And don't forget to subscribe our channel to know the upcoming videos. Thank you.